Let's take a journey through the Mojave's most iconic and mysterious locations. Today, we're peeling back the layers on some of Fallout's strangest myths, dark secrets, and the hidden histories. From whispered legends about haunted camps and secret number stations to tales of creatures born not of just radiation but human ambition. This video dives deep into the stories that linger in the shadows of the wasteland. So, settle in, get comfortable, and join us as we uncover the eerie, the unexpected, and the unforgettable. These aren't just places on the map. They're chapters in the wasteland's twisted story, and each one holds a mystery waiting to be explored. If the courier kills Cook's beloved Brahmin, Queenie, before taking out Cook himself, he goes into a frenzied rampage. Enraged by the loss of his prized Brahmin, he loses control and attacks everything around him, lashing out indiscriminately. This wild reaction underscores just how deeply Cook is attached to Queenie, and the chaos that follows serves as a testament to his volatile, violent nature, fueled by this one twisted loyalty. Raul Tejada, voiced by Danny Trejo, stands out as the only Mexican character in Fallout New Vegas. His background is deeply rooted in Mexican history and culture, with stories of his pre-war life in Mexico City adding unique depth to his character. As a ghoul, Raul has survived for over 200 years, carrying a mix of humor, wisdom, and wariness from his long life. His distinct cultural perspective offers a rare voice in the Mojave, one that sheds light on how diverse lives were impacted by the Great War. His storylines, interactions, and worldview highlight both his resilience and a powerful sense of nostalgia for his lost world. Moira Brown, the quirky yet determined owner of Craterside Supply in Fallout 3, became a surprising legend in the post-apocalyptic world. Her wasteland survival guide, written with the help of the Lone Wanderer, quickly became one of the most popular and widely circulated books in the wasteland. From Megaton to the far reaches of the Mojave, copies of her guide spread, offering advice, tips, and sometimes bizarre survival strategies that helped countless wastelanders navigate the dangers of the post-apocalyptic world. Moira's name became well known, her unique mix of optimism and resourcefulness embodying a rare hope and resilience. Her influence stretched far beyond Megaton, making her a pivotal figure in helping people survive and even thrive in a world torn apart by war. It's easy to miss though, guys, but those red magazine dispensers on the strip, they're a neat little touch to the New Vegas setting. They look like old-fashioned newspaper machines, and you find them scattered around, stocked with various skill magazines. For players low on caps or in need of a quick skill boost, these machines can be a lifesaver, providing you with just what you need for a big speech check or a tricky lock. They're another small but immersive detail that brings life to the strip and adds to that gritty, make it work vibe in Mojave. Keep an eye out for them though. They blend in with the scenery, but They're worth the find though, guys. In the Sunset Sarsaparilla headquarters, the old animatronic Festus greets anyone with a cheerful sales pitch, an outdated relic with a dusty charm, but there's a dark undertone hidden in the brightly lit world of sarsaparilla bottles. If the courier persists in asking Festus about the drink's health advisory label, first, he dismisses them with an upbeat deflections and promotional slogans. It's only after repeatedly pressing him that Festus finally breaks his shipper routine to reveal the truth. Sunset Sarsaparilla contains trace elements of radioactive isotopes. Instead of pulling customers back, the mascot's role was repurposed to assure folks everything was perfectly safe. A masterstroke in marketing with a twisted Mojave twist.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand that. Could you repeat it? I'm sorry, I didn't quite understand that. Could you repeat it? While Sunset Sarsaparilla is perfectly safe, a recent independent study, whose validity is currently being challenged, revealed the following. Excessive ingestion of sarsaparilla can lead to deleterious effects, including, but not limited to, kidney damage, nausea, digital numbness, anxiety, loss of visual acuity, dizziness, occasional nosebleeds, joint inflammation, tooth decay, sore throat, bronchitis, organ rupture, and halitosis. Note that you'd have to drink a heap of Sunset Sarsaparilla to match the quantities used in the study. How much, you ask? A lot. A whole hell of a lot. In fact, you'd have to get full as a tick on Sunset Sarsaparilla to even come close. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, partner, and keep drinking Sunset Sarsaparilla.
A rare find in the Mojave. There's actually a unique dog treat hidden near the Yangtze Memorial in New Vegas. Inside a small shack-like structure, you'll come across this singular dog treat, one of the rarest items in the base game. It's an odd discovery too though, since it doesn't really seem to have any purpose or connection to the quests. Its scarcity and curious placement have made it a fun Easter egg for sharp-eyed players who happen to stumble across it. It's a small detail, but it adds a bit of mystery to the area and invites speculation about its purpose or its story. Just outside of the Monte Carlo suites, there's a rare find. A single, rigged mailbox trap, ready to explode if you're not careful. It's the one and only of its kind in Fallout New Vegas, standing out since these explosive mailboxes were much more common in Fallout 3. It feels like a nod to the Capital Wasteland, reminding us of the dangers that still linger from the old world. This one-of-a-kind trap adds an unexpected hazard, catching players off guard with its vintage explosive charm. If players tamper with Dobson's radio in the NCR Ranger's safe house bunker during the quest Still in the Dark, he doesn't take it lightly. Dobson later returns to set up a grenade trap, leaving a note specifically for the player. This vengeful touch adds a unique twist to interactions, as Dobson proves he's not one to let sabotage slide quietly. It's a subtle but memorable bit of Fallout's gameplay that reinforces the sometimes personal consequences of meddling with the wrong Ranger's gear. In Novak, The little dinosaur toys scattered around occasionally let out a roar all on their own, even without anyone touching them. It's a small, quirky detail that feels both eerie and charming, as if these tiny dinos are echoing the big T-Rex that towers over the town. Just another one of those hidden gems that makes the Mojave feel surprisingly alive in its own strange way. Perhaps though, especially in my opinion guys, one of the most chilling details, it lies in the Courier's Mile, where a blackened human-shaped outline on a crumbled building wall hints at the fate of someone vaporized by the nuclear blast. This haunting remnant is a lasting shadow, burned into the wall as a reminder of the devastating power unleashed upon the region. As players wander the irradiated rubble, this image brings a stark reminder of the horrifying reality of nuclear war, where even the shadows tell stories of the lives they once belonged to. Felipe is the chef at the Ultralux Casino, where he obsesses over creating what he considers superior cuisine for the White Glove Society's elitist tastes. Like many of the White Gloves, Felipe has a dark backstory. At a young age, his father abandoned the family, leading to his mother, a chem fiend, to bring home various men whom Felipe was forced to call uncle. His sisters would lock him in a shipping crate to get him out of the way. While the details remain murky, there's mention of a troubling event involving his brother, adding another layer to Felipe's hostility and trauma. This past has shaped him into the abrasive, tyrannical figure that he is today, belittling his kitchen staff and taking a certain satisfaction in shouting at them, which he insists they deserve. When the courier encounters Felipe, he mistakes them for another servant and subjects them to his usual verbal abuse. However, with some probing, the courier can point out the obvious signs of unresolved trauma behind Felipe's aggression. At first, he scoffs at the notion, rattling off painful memories in an attempt to defend himself, but as he speaks, the truth dawns on him and his tough facade crumbles. Before storming off to process his realization, Felipe leaves the kitchen, open to the courier, saying, "It won't fill the hole though, just remember that. You'll always feel empty." This line suggests a powerful insight into his life. No matter how hard he strives for culinary perfection, the emptiness from his unresolved past remains. Alternatively, if the courier assists Mortimer in his plan to reintroduce cannibalism to the White Glove Society, Felipe will be complicit in preparing the meal, overseeing the morbid task of cooking Ted Gunderson for Mortimer's infamous feast.
Why are you standing still? Do you think the world waits for you while you stand there drooling? Get back out there and get to work. Who the fuck do you think I am? I'm the fucking god of New Vegas Brahmin fusion cuisine, that's who. No, that doesn't even give me the credit I deserve. I fucking invented edible food. Do you like eating? Good. You owe me your entire goddamn garbage existence. Oh, really? So despite your filthy face and your vacant expression and your complete lack of human dignity, you're telling me you're not a server? What, me? The supreme ruler of the Nevada dining scene? Teach some low-life half-wits how to make food that doesn't smell like burning excrement? Do you think it would sell? You're pushing your luck. Here, I have a few copies on me. This better be good enough. We're gonna have a real problem if this thing isn't a hit. What kind of harebrained fucking psychobabble bullshit is that? I yell at people because I like yelling at people, and because they fucking deserve it, not because Mumsy and Daddykins didn't hug me enough. Oh, I see how it is. You think because my father walked out on us when I was 5, now I have to yell at people. Or because my mother was a deranged chem fiend who regularly brought strange men home who told me to call them uncle. Or because my sisters would lock me in a shipping crate when they didn't want me around. And my brother... God, I'd forgotten about that. How could they do that to me? I can't stay here. I need to be alone. Forget about the fucking banquet. You know what? You can do it. You be the star chef. Take my recipes. It won't fill the hole, though. Just remember that. You'll always feel empty.
Camp Forlorn Hope is a crucial location in the Mojave Wasteland, embodying the dire circumstances and grim reality faced by the NCR in Fallout New Vegas. Established in 2274, after the NCR took control of Hoover Dam, the camp was initially set up to secure more of the western Colorado River shores. However, the rushed establishment is evident in its patchwork assembly of tents, shacks, and sandbag defenses that barely hold together the NCR's primarily stronghold in the southeastern Mojave. After the fall of Camp Searchlight and the NCR's defeat at Nelson, Camp Forlorn Hope found itself on the front line against Caesar's Legion. This shift stretched its resources and left the camp plagued by logistical failures and deteriorating morale. Supplies are in short supply, and the frequent Legion raids only add to the camp's growing list of casualties, with morale failing as soldiers suffer from inadequate support and supplies. Many NCR troops across the Mojave have come to view being posted to Camp Forlorn Hope as tantamount to a death sentence. Major Pilati, the camp's commanding officer, openly blames upper NCR command for its inefficiency, but is resolute in his mission to strengthen the camp and hopefully reclaim Nelson from the Legion's hold. The camp itself is nestled northeast of Novak, divided roughly in half by the freshwater creek from Forlorn Hope Spring. With limited resources and makeshift structures, Forlorn Hope is a testament to the NCR's struggle in the Mojave, with the bleakness of its circumstances accentuated by the drab, desaturated tones applied throughout the camp. The northern area houses essential structures such as the main barracks, medical center, jail, and the spring itself. In contrast, the crowded southern section consists of the mess hall, the quartermaster's tent, the bunkers lining the perimeter, with a desolate stretch of no man's land leading to the Legion-controlled Nelson. The camp's occupants, from the weathered Major Pilati to the overworked Dr. Richards, reflect the desperation of the NCR forces stationed here. Troops, medics, and techs all work with what little they have, many of them defeated by the notion that the NCR is simply holding on by a thread. When the courier arrives, they have the opportunity to improve morale through various quests, such as aiding in medical efforts and medical mystery, or securing supply lines and restoring hope. Even so, the ongoing battle between the NCR and Caesar's Legion plays out harshly around the camp, with ambushes and guerrilla tactics used on both sides. In this environment, Alpha Team, led by Lieutenant Grobetz, represents the NCR's elite, bringing a glimmer of strength to an otherwise beleaguered camp once they arrive. Camp Forlorn Hope design, a collaboration between Charles Staples and Joshua Sawyer, draws heavily from real-world military terminology, as Forlorn Hope refers to soldiers sent to defend dangerous positions where casualties are expected to be high. The name itself underscores the desperate mission facing the NCR as they cling to territory in the Mojave, hoping to fortify their position in anticipation of the Second Battle of Hoover Dam. With its broken, makeshift structures, fraught supplies, and soldiers fighting against overwhelming odds, Camp Forlorn Hope offers a grim snapshot of the NCR's Mojave campaign and reflects the dark realities of warfare in the Fallout universe. The Mojave Outpost, officially known as NCR Ranger Outpost Mojave, stands as a critical checkpoint on the edge of the Mojave Wasteland, a hub for caravans, and the first line of defense for the NCR's southern border. Originally a pre-war rest stop on Interstate 15, the NCR repurposed the site to monitor the trade route and to safeguard travelers from the dangers lurking beyond. This transformation included the construction of the Unification Monument, marking the historic alliance between the Desert Rangers and the NCR Rangers, a pact that strengthened the NCR's foothold in Nevada against looming threats like Caesar's Legion. By 2281, the Mojave Outpost operates as a logistical center, providing clearance for caravans and housing a garrison of NCR troops tasked with protecting the southern highway from Prim to the border. However, the rising pressure from Legion forces and the powder gangers breakout at the NCR correctional facility has stretched resources thin, leaving the outpost shorthanded and its soldiers anxious. Most troopers stationed here now serve in administrative roles or as border guards, a safer but wearisome assignment compared to frontline posts. The outpost layout centers around two main structures: the barracks, where players can find Lacey tending a bar, and headquarters where Major Knight offers repairs and administrative services. Veteran Ranger Jackson manages patrol assignments and provides support for any caravans that make it through the rugged landscape. Meanwhile, Ranger Ghost keeps watch from the rooftop, scanning the horizon for Legion activity and other potential dangers. As the Legion inches closer, the Mojave Outpost stands as a crucial, if vulnerable, bastion of the NCR's presence in the wasteland, serving both as a symbol of unity and as a staging ground for defending the region. Vault 22 in Fallout New Vegas is haunting. Vegetation overrun the vault, where an attempt to tackle world hunger went catastrophically wrong. Originally intended as a green vault, scientists experimented with advanced agricultural and pest control methods, including Biravira mortician. I know I said that wrong, just we'll move on. A fungal pathogen designed to eradicate pests. However, as with much of Big Mountain's twisted creations, the fungus was far from harmless. The spores became highly infectious, mutating and overtaking human hosts, turning them into spore carriers, driven only to spread the infestation further. The vault's once ideal agricultural research center quickly spiraled into chaos as the infection spread, and by 2096, all its inhabitants were either dead or transformed into mindless, fungal horrors. Vault 22's unsettling layers are reinforced as you venture through its overgrown hallways filled with aggressive spore carriers and menacing plant life. The vault is split into 5 floors, each dedicated to different functions, from food production to pest control. The layout reveals clues about its tragic history, though. Terminals detail the infection's initial outbreak and the desperate actions of scientists trying to contain it, such as releasing flammable gases to eradicate the infestation, a plan that ultimately failed as the infected overran them. Interestingly though, Vault 22 survivors attempted to flee to Zion, only to face a darker fate, where their violent descent continued. Overrun with plant life and crawling with mutated creatures, Vault 22 stands as a chilling reminder of how even the best intentions can end in disaster. making it one of the most haunting places in the Mojave Wasteland. Mick and Ralph's, a lively little spot in Freeside, caters to all types. For Freeside irregulars, they offer the usual run-of-the-mill goods, but for the right customer, they open up a whole new stash with a persuasive touch. The courier can access Mick's hidden cache, stocked with rare ballistic weapons and a unique naughty nightwear. Meanwhile, Ralph sells a special service for those eager to get past the strip gate, quote-unquote, fake passport. The duo maintains a charmingly steed setup, with shelves made of washing machines, and some intriguing items like Vault 3 jumpsuits upstairs. Even the shop has an underground reputation. Word has it that Mick has some impressive pre-war relics stashed out of sight, but try to nab anything without them noticing, and the deal's off. The location itself is a classic post-apocalyptic charm, a bit of grit with a dash of nostalgia. The signage outside bears the marks of Freeside's frugal fare, where Ralph's has an unmistakably newer Mick and tacked on. And when you walk in, the place has the look of a well-worn establishment that's seen a lot of action. Locals, like the Mick and Ralph's crier, draw you in with promises of stuff they're not even allowed to sell inside. Regulars like Dixon lurk around, while Ralph occasionally engages in quirky dialogues, even calling the life of a pimp quote-unquote tough, if you're on certain quests. With little quirks and no shortage of special stock, Mick and Ralph's is truly a Freeside gem, balancing lawful enterprise with just enough black market charm. The Nipton Road pit stop in the Mojave Wasteland is a desolate spot, mostly forgotten and partially crumbling. Lying west of Nipton along Nevada State 164, this area is a textbook ambush site. Wrecked buildings, a campfire with healing power scattered nearby, and makeshift beds mark a hideout for jackals, a rough gang eager to surprise travelers. For those not up to a fight, the pit stop is best avoided by skirting through nearby rad scorpion territory or the golden gecko-infested Crescent Canyon to the south. While exploring, vigilant players might stumble upon the graffiti "The Birdman Walks" etched into the brick wall, a haunting reminder of Mojave's legends. To the east, an unmarked quest called "The Stars Showdown Waits," where two sunset sarsaparilla cap hunters, Thomas and Jacqueline, face off in a deadly showdown. After their encounter, players can scavenge a handful of rare star bottle caps, a treasure of its own in the Mojave. If you're bold enough to explore every corner, check beneath the blue car parked outside. There's a briefcase hidden in there, adding a dash of mystery to this overwise, dilapidated waste station. Nelson. Once a thriving mining town in the Mojave Wasteland, is now a stark reminder of the brutal conflict between the New California Republic and Caesar's Legion. Following the Great War, some miners attempted to scavenge the area, but by 2281, the town's strategic location made it a prime target. The NCR initially took control, using it as a logistical bridge between Camp Forlorn Hope and Camp Searchlight. But before they could establish a stronghold, Dead Sea, a ruthless decanus of the Legion, launched an attack. With Camp Forlorn Hope strained and Searchlight decimated, the NCR had no means to mount a counteroffensive, leaving Nelson firmly in Legion hands. Since seizing control, Dead Sea has transformed Nelson into a dark theater of war. Under his orders, captured NCR troops are forced to endure public executions by cliff jumps, hacking, and crucifixions, meant to demoralize NCR forces in the region. As the brutal scene unfolds from a makeshift fort atop the hill, Legion guards patrol the enclosed camp, which is fortified with sandbags, bunkers, and an armory. 3 crucified NCR soldiers stand as a grim symbol in the town's open courtyard, visible to nearby NCR outposts. For those daring to venture into Nelson, notable finds include Dead Sea's weapon, the Liberator, hidden explosives by the NCR Rangers Milo, and scattered NCR dog tags on the fallen soldiers. Occasionally, NCR troops attempt a valiant but usually doomed raid on Nelson, only for the Legion forces to push them back. The town's eerie silence, punctuated by clashing forces, makes it a haunting, tragic outpost in the Mojave's endless struggle for control. Bitter Springs stands as one of the Mojave Wasteland's most haunting locations, carrying with it the heavy legacy of the Bitter Springs Massacre. Originally a scenic state park, the area became a major settlement for the Great Khans after they were pushed from New Vegas by Mr. House and the 3 families in 2274. For years, the Khans harassed NCR caravans and citizens, but their defiance came at a steep cost. In 2278, after the Khans killed 4 NCR troopers, the Republic retaliated, with a force that included the elite 1st Recon sharpshooters. Poor intel and chaotic communication led to the slaughter of countless Khans, including non-combatants and children, and what became known as the Bitter Springs Massacre. In the years following the massacre, the Khans abandoned Bitter Springs and resettled in Red Rock Canyon, leaving behind a painful scar on the landscape and the memories of all who witnessed the tragedy. By 2281, Bitter Springs has become a refugee camp managed by a small NCR force under Captain Gillies. However, the camp remains plagued by issues, evident in the upside-down NCR flag, a distress signal highlighting the camp's worsening conditions. Though, once a place of tragedy, the camp now symbolizes the enduring struggle of Mojave refugees caught in the conflicts of larger powers. In 2278, in retaliation for the deaths of 4 NCR troopers at the hands of the Great Khans, the New California Republic launched an assault on Bitter Springs, the main Khan settlement, to prevent escape through the Red Rock Pass. 1st Recon sharpshooters were stationed at Coyote Tail Ridge, overlooking the area. Among them was Craig Boone, who later recounts that 1st Recon was ordered to shoot anyone attempting to flee. When the attack commenced, miscommunications with NCR command tragically led to the deaths of non-combatants, as orders to open fire on site were maintained despite attempts to clarify that women, children, and the elderly were among those fleeing. This incident became known as the Bitter Springs Massacre, with the graves of those killed at Red Rock Pass later dug in sight of Coyote Tail Ridge, marking one of the darkest moments in the NCR Mojave's campaign. By 2281, Gene Skydiving, once a pre-war skydiving school, stands as a lone structure along Nevada State Route 160 and Interstate 15. Rusting quietly into the desert sands, the small building and the derelict plane behind it evoke memories of Gene, the town it served. Though the school skydiving days are long gone, a few powder gangers linger around the building, and a weathered pickup truck with a suitcase in its bed sits outside the door. Inside, the room is spare, with a desk and a few lockers, one of which can be opened with the key resting beside a broken ham radio, hiding away any remaining treasures. Located just north of the Mojave Outpost and south of the Mesquite Mountains crater, the Mesquite Mountains campsite is a small, rugged setup overtaken by nature and danger. The area holds 2 abandoned tents, each with a pair of beds surrounded by old vehicles and invading by swarms of rad scorpions, which continue to reclaim the territory, respawning whenever disturbed. Just a short trek up a steep hill to the southwest, 3 graves sit quietly, waiting to be uncovered by any courier carrying a shovel. Despite the threat of rad scorpions, the camp is a practical stop, offering beds and a campfire and a small section of prickly pear, barrel cactus, and banana yuccan fruits, making it a viable player housing option surprisingly. Fire Root Cavern, tucked away in the Mojave Wasteland, is a hidden lair with an ominous atmosphere and home to some of the wasteland's most dangerous creatures, with 2 entrances, one opening on the desert floor and another on the cliffs overlooking a radioactive outdoor pool. This cavern harbors fire geckos, including the formidable legendary fire gecko. The cavern itself consists of a large room centered around a radioactive pool, with an overlooking ledge and a corridor connecting both entrances. Inside, explorers may stumble upon an eerie evil gnome statue near the entry corridor, and find a skeleton with a duffel bag in the pool's southwest corner. Outside the upper entrance, a dead prospector lies in irradiated water, clutching valuable loot, including a rare Fat Man launcher. Fireroot Cavern is even rumored in the official game guide to be the birthplace of the fire gecko subspecies, adding a layer of mystery to its fiery depths. Guardian Peak is a scenic but eerie location in the Mojave Wasteland, where a team of NCR soldiers led by Sergeant Banner was dispatched by the New California Republic survey crew to transform the rugged trails into an observation base. Although Banner's team initially handled the project efficiently, their progress was quickly marred by strange sounds echoing throughout the night. The howls and splashes reported by Private Jackson at first were dismissed as mere wind or figments of Jackson's imagination. The noises gained credibility when the team's blasting activities revealed an undisclosed cave within the mountains. Tasked with exploring the cave, a team, including Private Halford, set out into the dark unknown, a decision that would seal the fate of Camp Guardian's occupants. Guardian Peak itself stands at an elevation of 2,667 feet, with a trail lined with brock flowers and marked by campsites, overlook points, and remnants of NCR soldiers' activities. The summit offers sweeping views of landmarks like Hoover Dam, the Colorado River, Fortification Hill, and obviously Lake Mead, with a resting spot near a ham radio that transmits an abandoned distress signal. The adjacent Camp Guardian caves reveal the grim end of the stationed NCR troops, a haunting testament to the dangers lurking within the Mojave. Once a serene mountain resort nestled in the cliffs of Mount Charleston, Jacobstown was reborn from the ashes of the old world. Led by the super mutant Marcus, this place has become a sanctuary, a refuge for super mutants, nightkin, and anyone seeking peace away from the harsh Mojave. But this is no ordinary settlement. Jacobstown has been painstakingly carved by Marcus's own vision, a safe harbor for those like him who endure exile and mistrust in the human world. Marcus named Jacobstown after his fallen friend, Jacob, a brotherhood of steel paddling with whom he once shared a dream of coexistence. Together, they founded Broken Hills, but Jacob's death left Marcus determined to keep that dream alive. Decades later, the result is Jacobstown, a community that not only houses super mutants and nightkin, but opens its gates to ghouls and humans alike, as long as they come in peace. However, Jacobstown's journey to peace is anything but simple. The Nightkin, plagued by schizophrenia from years of stealth boy use, are often at odds with Marcus's rules. Keen, the defiant representative, is ready to rebel if Dr. Henry, an Enclave scientist turned ally, fails to produce a cure for their condition. In this tension, Jacobstown teeters between peace and chaos, with Marcus caught in the crossfire of leadership and the Nightkin's growing impatience. Even as Marcus champions peaceful relations with outsiders, Jacobstown faces hostility from the NCR, who send mercenaries to harass the town. Accused of attacking Brahmin herds, Jacobstown suffers under NCR suspicion and prejudice, haunted by a fate imposed by the outside world. Yet, Marcus clings to hope, believing mutual respect can prevail, and determined to prove Jacobstown's innocence. The settlement itself is striking in its isolation, far from prying eyes, guarded by towering mutants, and surrounded by the rugged beauty of the Mojave's high mountains. Bighorners graze freely, tended by Nightkin like Lily, who recalls her pre-war life with fragmented memories. Dr. Henry's lab hums with experiments, while Marcus walks throughout the town, watching over his people and welcoming anyone who might give Jacobstown a chance. Jacobstown, in its simple bungalows and the lodge where the community gathers, stands as both a dream and a battleground. It's a place of resilience, a rare example of how people, mutant, ghoul, and human alike, can come together in the wasteland, united not by birth, but by the hope for a future that neither guns nor prejudice can take away. West Side is a beating heart of independence on the edge of New Vegas, a place that refuses to bow to anyone, be it the NCR, the Fiends, or even Mr. House. Originally, just another cluster of abandoned ruins in the Mojave Wasteland, Westside rose from the dust to become a tight-knit, self-sustaining community. Though, at a first glance, it appears run down and weary. Westside hides a bustling life within its fortified walls. The people here don't just survive, they thrive, farming their own crops, crafting their own goods, and sharing the profits through the Westside Cooperative. This unique organization was established by two unlikely partners, Tom Anderson and Clayton Etienne. Anderson, a former follower of the apocalypse, brought his expertise in irrigation and water systems, while Etienne, a New Reno escapee, poured his passion into building a truly independent community. Anderson's knowledge allowed him to discreetly rig an NCR water pump, securing a hidden water source essential for Westside's prosperity. Young Hector, a boy who took on the task of delivering water without raising suspicion, became a quiet hero, helping keep the lifeblood of the West Side flowing. The community isn't without its defenses either, though. The West Side Militia, a small but fiercely dedicated force, protects its gates from the chem-aled fiends and any other hostile force that dares approach. Among the ranks are notable figures like Mean Son of a Bitch, or a super mutant who became a fierce guardian, and Klamath Bob, who is ready to defend his home alongside his neighbors. The heart of Westside's resilience, though, lies in its spirit of survival. The Thorn, an underground arena run by Red Lucy, showcases the best hunters from around the wasteland and reminds everyone of Westside's edge and grit. The community here lives by their own rules, navigating threats and resource shortages with a mixture of pride, secrecy, and sheer willpower. For those who call Westside home, freedom and community are worth every battle and every sacrifice, creating an untold story of triumph on the outskirts of New Vegas. Hoover Dam isn't just a massive concrete wall splitting the Mojave Wasteland. It's a treasure that everyone wants to claim. In Fallout New Vegas, Hoover Dam is a powerful landmark, the ultimate prize. Once, it was a marvel of the old world, powering the Southwest with energy from the Colorado River. Protected by anti-aircraft defenses, it stood strong even when the bombs fell, thanks to Mr. House's defense systems that shielded it from total destruction. For nearly 200 years after the Great War, the dam sat quietly and untouched. But when the new California Republic arrived, they saw its potential. With Mr. House watching closely, they made a deal, giving 95% of the dam's power to the NCR while keeping some electricity for the house's strip. The NCR got to work, turning the turbines and restoring power to parts of California and Nevada. But they weren't alone. Caesar's Legion saw the dam as a key to their own empire. In 2277, they launched an attack led by the Malpais legate. However, the NCR, with Chief Hanlon's clever tactics, managed to turn the tables. They trapped the Legion forces in Boulder City, blowing up the town with both Legion soldiers and NCR Rangers inside. The NCR kept the dam, and General Oliver became a hero. By 2281, tensions were boiling. The Legion, now led by Kaiser himself, wanted to try again. The NCR fortified the dam, stacking soldiers and preparing for what they called the Second Battle of Hoover Dam. This is where Fallout New Vegas hits its climax. Depending on the player's choices, the battle could end in various ways. Whether the dam stays with the NCR, falls to Caesar's Legion, becomes part of Mr. House's domain, or is left to fend for itself in a free Mojave. Hoover Dam is massive. At the entrance, there is the NCR's checkpoint and visitor center. Further in, long tunnels and intake towers feed water into giant turbines. At the top, there's a bridge to cross from one side to the other. Deep below are storage rooms and even radioactive barrels, hiding supplies and loot from before the war. The player's choices here affect the Mojave. Supporting the NCR means a strong government presence, with hopes of peace but strict rules. If Caesar's Legion takes over, the Mojave could be ruled by harsh discipline. House's rule would see technology and wealth flow through New Vegas, though only for those with caps to spend, and an independent outcome lets the Mojave stand on its own, free but uncertain. Hoover Dam represents something different to everyone. It's a lifeline, a fortress, and a point of pride. In the end, it's up to the player to decide who will control this mighty wall, shaping the future of the Mojave Wasteland. The Lucky Gem Mine, located north of Ranger Station Echo in the Mojave Wasteland, serves as a small but intriguing stop for travelers in Fallout New Vegas. Though the entrance to the mine itself has collapsed, the adjacent house remains accessible. This modest shack contains a workbench, beds, shelving units, and various items of loot for the resourceful player. Outside, a hollowed-out rock can be found on the southwest corner of the building, offering further exploration opportunities. Among the notable finds inside is a copy of Lying Congressional Style, resting on the bottom shelf near the beds, adding a touch of humor to the setting. However, visitors should remain vigilant when departing, as fire geckos can emerge from the left, often engaging in battle with nearby legionaries if they are present and haven't yet been attacked. Based on the real-world location, Lucky Gem Camp in Clark County, Nevada, the mine adds a rich, yet eerie slice of history to the game, offering players a glimpse into a forgotten outpost of the wasteland. As you wander through the Mojave Wasteland, you'll come across an odd item: the disassembled weapons shipment. It's tied to the quest How Little We Know. This cache is hidden in plain sight, surrounded by fiends just west of the Sunset Sarsaparilla headquarters. What makes it unique is that while it's a fiend-controlled asset, it's still tagged as red, meaning you'll need to steal it to secure it. Even though raiding the wasteland for loot is part of everyday life in Fallout. Interestingly, grabbing it before starting the quest makes it a permanent resident in your inventory. This oversight leaves players stuck with the extra weight and a bit of irony. The loot you stole becomes an everlasting souvenir of your time in the Mojave, bound to you like an unintended consequence of your wasteland adventures. It's a subtle reminder of how choices, big or small, leave marks on you, both literal and figurative, as you progress through the game's unforgiving landscape. Brewer's Beer Bootlegging is a small, dangerous location in the Mojave Wasteland in Fallout New Vegas. By 2281, the previous owner, Gerd, had planned to brew his own beer, called Strategic Nuclear Moose, setting it up in a still in the basement of a shack. Unfortunately, he never got the chance to launch his business due to a fatal cazador infestation around the property. The shack is located due west of the Sunset Sarsaparilla headquarters, surrounded by cazadors and their nests. Inside, there is an average locked door leading to the basement, where Gerd's brewing operation was set up. The key to this door can be found on a shelf next to a Sunset Sarsaparilla Star bottle cap. In the basement, an explosive chest contains ample weaponry and can be accessed with a key found next to the chemistry setup. Notable items here include a big book of science near the equipment and a gun cabinet holding high-level weapons. Locked with a hard lock, a sign advertising Strategic Nuclear Moose hints at Gerd's dream to launch his own brand. Visitors to the Brewer's Beer Bootlegging should be cautious though, as exiting the shack often triggers an ambush from nearby cazadores. Occasionally, Gerd himself may appear standing at the door though he is unresponsive and usually has zero health, quickly falling to the cazadors. Inspired by Scotland Brewdog's brewery high alcohol beer, Tactical Nuclear Penguin, Gerd's Strategic Nuclear Moose is a nod to real-world brews with high ABV records at the time of the game's development. Players exploring this location should watch for notable items and be prepared for bugs that may arise on various consoles, particularly leading to companions getting stuck in the basement and issues with the right analog stick on the PlayStation 3 or the PlayStation version. Nellis Air Force Base, home to the Boomers, is one of the Mojave Wasteland's most well-armed and self-sufficient strongholds. Originally a U.S. military site during the Great War, Nellis was bombarded by nuclear warheads, leaving it uninhabitable for decades. About 50 years before Fallout New Vegas, a group from Vault-34 took control of the irradiated base, establishing a tribe around explosives and self-reliance. The Boomers protect their homeland fiercely, using artillery and weaponry stockpiled from the nearby Area 2. But beyond their firepower, they've made Nellis fully self-sufficient, growing crops with water from Lake Mead, refining biodiesel, and powering the base with solar energy. Education here covers farming, survival, and of course, heavy weaponry. The ultimate goal here, though, is to resurrect an old B-29 bomber they call the Lady in the Lake, hoping to one day take the skies again. Inside the base, the Boomers train using virtual reality pods, honing their skills for the day they can bring the Lady to life. Nellis is well defended, with artillery fields, guards, and automated defenses, ensuring outsiders tread carefully. Yet, those who gain the Boomers' trust can unlock unique loot, artillery support, and an alliance that may turn the tides of the Mojave's power struggles. Scorpion Gulch, nestled in the Mojave Wasteland southeast of Hidden Valley, serves as a perilous shortcut between Hidden Valley and the Helios 1 Novak areas, allowing travelers to bypass Nipton to the south. True to its name, the Gulch is overrun with both bark scorpions and formidable giant scorpions. Upon first entry, the player will face an initial swarm of giant rad scorpions, followed by scripted waves of bark scorpions that emerge from square holes in the Gulch walls, creating an intense, swarming ambush. For those who venture deeper into the Gulch, loot awaits. A missing laser pistol, central to the unmarked quest pistol packing, rests on a boulder at the center, while a dead wastelander nearby holds a Sunset Star sarsaparilla bottle cap. This hidden path, often littered with minor loot from fallen wastelanders, tests the player's combat and survival skills amongst the Mojave's most relentless predators. Game director Josh Sawyer noted that while Scorpion Gulch, Quarry Junction, and Black Mountain may appear as barriers to the New Vegas Strip, they're instead designed to challenge and reward players who find ways to survive or sneak past the dangers. The Nellis Air Force Base Boomer Museum, an unmarked yet cherished spot within Nellis Air Force Base, tells the rich history of the boomers in the Mojave Wasteland. Founded about 50 years before the courier's arrival, the museum preserves a grand mural that charts the boomers' journey from Vault 34 to the settlement at Nellis, with a vision for a future where they restored a downed B-29 bomber to its former glory. This story, passed down orally by the keeper of the story, is now entrusted to the young Pete after his predecessor Don's tragic accident 2 months prior. Upon entering the museum, which sits across from the northwest side of the Nellis hangars, visitors are greeted with historical displays and a detailed wall mural. To the right of the entrance, on a small table, lies the Nellis Air Force Base snow globe. Visitors can gain boomer reputation by listening to Pete's account, essential for the quest Valair. In the quest, I Could Make You Care, Veronica, a member of the Mojave Brotherhood, reflects on the boomers' resilience, drawing parallels with her own Brotherhood struggles. The Boomers Museum and its mural, crafted by designer Brian Menz, echo the real-world Nellis Thunderbirds Museum in Las Vegas, which celebrates the United States Air Force Thunderbirds through similar historical murals. The Grub and Gulp Rest Stop is a small establishment along Highway 95 in the Mojave Wasteland, serving as a convenient stop for refreshments and rest for travelers. Run by friends Fitz and Lube, this rest stop was set up prior to 2281 to accommodate the increasing traffic to New Vegas. Fitz manages the food stall, while Loop, a licensed water merchant, handles drinks and offers purified water from Lake Mead. Their customer base primarily consists of independent travelers like the courier, though NCR patrols and caravans sometimes make brief stops for quick meals. The rest stop is located north of the RepCon headquarters and is comprised of 3 makeshift stalls. The leftmost stall is outfitted for smithing, the middle stall for water sales, and the rightmost for food. Behind these stalls lies an inaccessible shack with an enclosure for Brahmin, and nearby there is a campfire used for crafting. Along with 4 unowned makeshift beds available for resting, a small picnic area surrounds a barrel fire, where a Sunset Sarsaparilla Star bottle cap rests on a tin plate, adding a small reward for scavengers. Fitz and Loop, though guys, are technically affiliated with the NCR, and if the player has a low enough NCR reputation, the merchants will turn hostile. Additionally, players with negative reputation among the Legion may encounter legionary assassins spawning near the overpass, and if approached from the south, Fitz and Loop might engage these legionaries, often leading to their own downfall. With its practical amenities and a welcoming host, the Grub and Gulp Rest Stop provides a unique but vulnerable haven alongside the traveler's route, appearing exclusively in Fallout New Vegas. The Nellis Array. A crucial part of the Boomer's self-sufficiency at Nellis Air Force Base was originally designed by the US military to generate solar power for the base, independent of Las Vegas's power grid. After the Great War and subsequent nuclear fallout, the array remained abandoned for decades until the Boomers, Vault 34 survivors who had settled at Nellis, restored it. This system allows them to generate power for their community without relying on external resources, a reflection of their fiercely independent lifestyle. However, by 2281, the array faces issues. Several panels have deteriorated, and the building is overrun with giant ants. Fixing the array is part of the Boomer's quest to secure Nellis's sustainability. Players who undertake the Sunshine Boogie quest can help Loyal repair these panels by scavenging solar parts from Helios 1 and using a sonic emitter to clear the ant infestation. Completing this will bring the array back to its full efficiency, powering Nellis at its peak capacity. Within the building, valuable items can be found, including 2 mini nukes and a unique Thump Thump grenade launcher, both near the lower level where the giant ants nest. Once the array is operational, access to the building becomes restricted, so retrieving any desired items before finishing the quest is essential. The NCR Correctional Facility, or the NCRCF, is a heavily fortified prison in the Mojave Wasteland, now overrun by former inmates. Before the Great War, it was known as the Gene Conservancy, a low-security prison for women in Nevada. In the early stages of the NCR Mojave campaign, the facility was repurposed to house prisoners on a work-release program to maintain a critical railway link between the Boneyard and New Vegas. After the First Battle of Hoover Dam, the NCR redirected its personnel to more urgent posts, leaving the prison vulnerable. This reduced guard presence allowed the anarchist Samuel Cook and his cohorts to stage a riot, seizing the facility, killing the warden, and taking control. Cook and many inmates later split from the gang, while those who stayed behind formed the Powder Gangers under Eddie's leadership. Now, the Powder Gangers use the facility as their stronghold, attacking caravans and travelers along Interstate 15, especially with dynamite stolen from Sloan, leaving local routes dangerous for NCR supply lines and travelers alike. The facility consists of key areas: a visitor center, a prison yard with 2 main cell blocks, and the administration building where Eddie commands the Powder Gangers. Players can approach the facility through multiple options, whether by bargaining, deception, or siding with the NCR to take it back. The NCRCF's fate is shaped by the players' choices and alliances, resulting in different outcomes for the Powder Gangers and their hold on the Mojave. Vault 19, hidden away amidst the desolate Mojave landscape, tells a haunting story of paranoia, isolation, and psychological torment. Divided into the blue and red sectors, Vault U-19 was unique among the Vault-Tec experiments, with its inhabitants separated into factions, encouraged to distrust each other, and subtly manipulated by 2 overseers. The design aimed to induce severe paranoia through non-violent means. Mysterious noises, blinking lights, and unexplained drafts all serve to heighten the vault dwellers' suspicion of one another. By the time Samuel Cook and his group of escaped convicts discovered the abandoned vault, the unsettling remains of the experiment remained, and the split sectors took on a new life under the convicts' rule. Navigating through Vault 19, visitors encounter eerie remains of its past inhabitants. Patient logs in the clinic and terminals hint at the residents' growing descent into suspicion and madness, with accusations flying between the factions and mounting fear over unexplained phenomenon. Vault 19 spiraled into chaos, leaving the survivors with fractured minds and stories carved into the walls of the empty vault. Today, sulfur caves infested with fire geckos encroach upon the vault structure, a symbol of nature reclaiming the twisted human experiments left behind. The convicts who took refuge here now grapple with the same isolation and distrust that tore the original residents apart. Cook and his counterpart, Philip Lem, vie for influence in their own sectors, mirroring the vault's divisive origins, with locked doors, scattered jumpsuits, and fading signs of Vault-Tec's psychological experiments. Vault 19 endures as a grim relic of humanity's misguided attempt to control fear and paranoia, all encapsulated within its claustrophobic halls and sulfur-stained walls. Prim, a once vibrant desert town, stands as a gritty relic of pre-war Nevada, capturing the raw spirit of Sin City on a budget. Before the Great War, it was a haven for road-weary travelers looking to indulge without the high-stakes glamour of New Vegas. Tourists flocked to its casinos, the Vicky and Vance, named after a Bonnie and Clyde-esque duo, and the Bison Steve, which boasted the rickety El Diablo roller coaster. Yet, after the apocalypse, the town became a shadow of its former self, though its strategic location on the I-15 gave it a chance to thrive as a modest stopover for traders and NCR caravans. That all changed in 2281, when a breakout at the NCR correctional facility sent convicts spilling into the Mojave, soon seizing Prim and murdering the local sheriff. The remaining townsfolk barricaded themselves inside the Vicky and Vance casino, facing off with the outlaws in a desperate stalemate. With Prim left hanging by a thread, the NCR set up a thin outpost outside, but without the manpower to reclaim the town, now, Prim's fate lies in the hands of whoever dares to challenge the convicts and breathe life back into this battered, lawless frontier town. Lipton, once a quiet town near the Nevada-California border, now stands as a grim testament to the brutality of Caesar's Legion and Fallout New Vegas. Before the Great War, Lipton was a minor railroad stop turned tourist haven, attracting travelers and offering a lottery promising fortunes. Post-war, it became a trade hub, albeit one with a darker side. Under Mayor Joseph B. Stern, Lipton's streets became rife with vice, prostitution, theft, and shady dealings. Stein's downfall came when he struck a deal with Caesar's Legion, intending to trap both NCR soldiers and powder gangers for a payout from Volpas and Colta, a legion frumentaries. But the mayor underestimated Volpa's intentions. Instead of honoring the deal, Volpas unleashed his legionaries on Lipton, rounding up residents and orchestrating a brutal lottery. Fate dictated whether the residents would die quickly, be crucified, or suffer life-altering punishments. Entering Lipton, players encounter the aftermath: scattered corpses, crucified victims, and a town stripped of life. A scene Volpas justifies as punishment for Lipton's moral corruption. Inside the town hall, vicious legion mongrels roam freely, and debris covers the floor where survivors once sought shelter. Boxcars, a former powder ganger, bitterly recalls the legion's cruelty, his broken legs rendering him unable to flee or fight back. In one of the houses, a rigged cage with bark scorpions, shotgun traps, and a safe containing a grenade rifle all hint at the residents' last-ditch attempts to defend themselves. For those venturing deeper, loot awaits, including the town hall's Big Book of Science and the rare Nuka-Cola Victory, along with numerous booby-trapped treasures scattered throughout the buildings. Lipton's haunting background music, the City of Dead, adds a somber tone to the town's ruin, with eerie moments like a possible encounter with Star Wars inspired skeletons for players with a Wild Wasteland trait. North Vegas Square is a raw, self-made enclave that embodies the grit of the Mojave's underbelly. Formed after Mr. House's rise and the growth of New Vegas, it's more a fortified camp than a thriving settlement. Its leader, Crandon, commands a minimal patrol to guard the streets and sewers against the many dangers that creep in. From fiends to wandering critters, the square's residents live by their own rules, upholding a fierce independence from big powers like the NCR or the Crimson Caravan, whom see them as encroaching threats, suspicion of strangers, yet welcoming to those who show toughness. The people here respect frugality over flashy spending like that on the Strip. Manny Vargas, the former 1st Recon sniper, has roots in North Vegas, suggesting that the Great Khans had connections to the area long before Crandon established order. With its single standing apartment block, a gray, and makeshift beds scattered in burnout ruins, North Vegas Square is a haven for the self-reliant but unforgiving to those unable to handle its frontier-style justice. Once a corporate hub, the Aerotech Office Park now stands as a shadow of its former self. Repurposed by the NCR as a refuge for the displaced and destitute in the Mojave, by 2281, it's a sanctuary and last resort for those failed by Vegas's promises. Hopefuls who lost everything on the Strip, families torn apart by the war, and NCR citizens left with nothing. The camp's overseer, Captain Parker, fights a losing battle to provide for everyone amid dwindling supplies and staff, often relying on outsiders for assistance with security and finding missing residents. Within this patchwork sanctuary, refugees find a basic level of safety, food, water, and shelter. But many fall prey to the darker side of desperation, lured into addiction or losing what little they have to crooked gambling scams run by the opportunists like Keith, who set up shop among the vulnerable. Bert Gunderson of the Followers of the Apocalypse offers medical support and a compassionate ear, although his influence is limited in such harsh conditions. The Aerotech Office Park, encircled by scrap fences and piles of refuse, remains a place of bleak survival where hope is rationed alongside the NCR's limited aid. The Searchlight Airport in the Mojave Wasteland is a haunting, abandoned location southeast of Camp Searchlight, lined with rusted jets and overrun by rad scorpions, with one long north-south runway and two shorter east-west runways. The eerie airfield's fenced perimeter is accessible only through a collapsed tunnel on its northern side, providing a rare gap in the dilapidated fencing, though none of the buildings, including the control tower, are accessible. Remnants of its past remain. A pair of trucks outside the terminal hides a stash of caps, varying in amount based on the player's luck and level. The area, dotted with empty fuel tanks and wrecked jets, is a dangerous venture, but can yield unexpected rewards, from energy weapons and ammo to occasionally missiles beneath the planes at the runway's west end. The location's real-world counterpart, the actual Searchlight Airport, rests just south of the town of Searchlight, Nevada, capturing a slice of post-war desolation amidst the wasteland's remnants. The Devil's Throat, nestled in the Mojave Wasteland east of Bloodborne Cave, is a haunting location within Fallout New Vegas. This eerie crater, filled with pools of irradiated water, has become a dumping ground for barrels of toxic waste, attracting monstrous inhabitants like centaurs, including the formidable giant evolved centaur that lurks within. As players navigate the radiated pools, they encounter a wrecked truck at the center. In the back of its trailer, lies a dead prospector, clutching reinforced combat armor and a unique party hat, while next to him rests the prize CZ-57 Avenger, a rare and powerful minigun variant. The radiation, coupled with the haunting stillness of the truck and its unfortunate passengers, evokes the grim consequences of humanity's impact on the wasteland. For players with the Wild Wasteland trait, a hidden surprise awaits further north, an undetonated atomic bomb known as the One, offering an additional mystery for those brave enough to explore. Beyond the crater, a super mutant camp often spawns to the northwest, housing up to 4 super mutant masters, with the occasional chance to encounter 2 NCR Rangers waging a fierce battle against them. While the Devil's Throat marks a treacherous destination, the unique loot and apocalyptic atmosphere make it one of the Mojave's most intriguing and peerless sights. Charleston Cave, nestled northwest of Jacobstown, is a dark, wild labyrinth filled with eerie green bioluminescent mushrooms and inhabited by a pack of cloaked night stalkers. Once an abandoned fallout shelter created by a desperate man before the Great War, the cave holds a sinister past. This unnamed man, shunned from entering nearby vaults, secretly built his own shelter, committing murder to protect it and leaving behind an ominous audio log that hints at disturbing intentions.
So the Reds finally hit us, just like I always said they would. Vegas is still there as far as I know, but that probably won't last long. Didn't get accepted into one of the vaults, so I did the next best thing and had this place built. Got massive debts, but who cares now? That's every man for himself now. Had to take care of the Paulson boy since he knew about this place. These supplies are for me and nobody else. There's a woman and her daughter up in one of the rooms of the lodge. Might go pay him a visit tomorrow. A man's got needs.
Inside, explorers can find a hidden bunker past the flooded section and a hard-locked door, holding valuable loot, including a hunting shotgun, ammunition, and consumables. The most prized find, though, is Oh Baby, a powerful super sludgy near a dead nightkin in the cave's southwest cavern, along with a chewed stealth boy that ties into the Guess Who I Saw Yesterday quest from Jacobstown. The cavern's ambient noises, dim lighting, and narrow passageways enhance its eerie atmosphere, making Charleston's Cave a place of secrets, danger, and untold stories from the pre- and post-war world. Gomorrah is a notorious hotel and casino in the heart of New Vegas. Run by the ruthless Omerta crime family, unlike the elegant surroundings of the Strip, Gomorrah revels in its reputation for vice, offering patrons an indulgent cocktail of gambling, chems, alcohol, and an unfiltered nightlife. It's also one of the few casinos that opens its door to ghouls, featuring ghoul bartenders and dancers. The building itself is a towering pyrotechnic lit attraction, visible across the Strip, with a shadowy interior reflecting the moral decay within. Gomorrah's labyrinth structure includes multiple levels designed to cater to the debauched. Beyond the casino floor lies the Brimstone Lodge, where Omerta Lieutenant Cachino mingles with customers. Above Brimstone, the VIP Zora Club holds exclusive offices for Big Sal and Nero, the Omerta leaders, with a strict, hard, locked door for each of them. The courtyard offers an open-air oasis where clientele can indulge further in the pleasures of Gomorrah. Many secluded tents. Below ground, the lower level is a maze of private rooms and the sinister Brimstone Bar, populated by ghoul dancers, prostitutes, and troiki. A key player, though, in the How Little We Know quest. A key feature of Gomorrah is its shady dealings. The Omertas quietly amass weapons, hidden away in a locked storage room, awaiting a plan to wrest control of the Strip from Mr. House. who they decisively call the Overboss. The VIP suites upstairs hold dark secrets too, including Clandon's private snuff film room, a grisly detail that surfaces during How Little We Know for those who manage to navigate its twisted halls and survive the casino's deceptive and dangerous allure. Gomorrah offers glimpses into New Vegas's seedy underbelly, where loyalty is bought, life is cheap, and vice is king.
Hey, welcome to the Silver Rush, New Vegas's best source of laser and plasma weapons. I'm afraid I'm going to have to search you before letting you in. Only weapons allowed on the premises are the ones we're selling. Then you're not going to shop here.
Silver Rush in Freeside, a repurposed casino turned weapons store, stands as a crown jewel of the Van Graff family's energy weapon empire. Its origins are steeped in rivalry. Once a prominent competitor to the Atomic Wrangler, it fell to the Van Graff's brutal tactics as they seized control, ejecting its former owners and quickly rebranding the Silver Rush as a fortified arms depot, under the rule of Gloria Van Graff and her sadistic brother, Gene Bapsite. The Silver Rush quickly drew in cap-heavy clientele from the Atomic Wrangler and beyond, establishing itself as the Mojave's go-to spot for high-grade energy weapons. Inside, the Silver Rush is guarded with ruthless efficiency. Security personnel are stationed throughout, while Gloria presides over the store's vast arsenal, flaunting weapons like the rare Cleansing Flame and Spurtlewood 970 to tempt the wealthiest buyers. For the less fortunate, entering the Silver Rush might mean being on the wrong side of a Van Graff debt dispute. A spectacle in itself, as missteps are often met with sizzling aftermath of laser and plasma blasts. Anyone attempting theft finds themselves quickly neutralized, and companions like R.K. Gannon add to the drama, offering complicated, tense interactions with their disdain for the Van Graffs. While Gloria and her team enforce strict order inside, Simon, a Van Graff thug outside, rigorously disarms every visitor, storing their weapons in a crate by the door. Yet, the tension lingers, especially with the unpredictable nature of the Van Graffs. For the courier, visiting the Silver Rush can lead to lucrative work for the Van Graffs, or deadly quests like Birds of a Feather, showcasing Freeside's darker side, where power, trade, and fear intersect among the neon lights of the old Vegas streets. The H&H Tools factory is a notorious relic in the Mojave Wasteland. Its story, steeped in a family rivalry, paranoia, and a descent into madness. Founded by Anthony House, the half-brother of the legendary Robert House. The company was once a prominent industrial force, but after a bizarre auto gyro and lighting incident claimed their parents, Robert House was forced to build his empire without the inheritance Anthony kept from him, leading to his founding of Robco Industries. As Robco rose, H&H Tools fell, and Anthony, grappling with increasing paranoia, implemented extreme security measures in fear of his half-brother's reprisal. By the time of the Great War, Anthony had dismissed all of his employees, securing the factory with traps, automated turrets, and violent robots, making it a fortress against both real and imagined threats. To this day, the factory remains sealed and deadly, with scavengers warned against trespassing unless they're well prepared to face the still operational security systems. The factory is laced with complex traps and mines, along with a few critical terminals containing entries from Anthony's final years. offering a glimpse into his deteriorating mind. The reward for those brave enough to navigate its dangers includes a lucky 38 VIP keycard resting on Anthony's desk, which offers valuable access to the Lucky 38 penthouse. But the true allure of the H&H Tools factory lies in its dark history, where a personal vendetta spiraled into a corporate implosion, leaving behind a medical mausoleum that stands as a testament to the unrestrained paranoia that consumed its creator. El Dorado Gas and Service, an old Poseidon energy refueling station, sits abandoned along Highway 95 between Helios 1 and Boulder City. Once a haven for pre-war travelers, it's now a weathered shell, offering a few amenities for passing wastelanders, namely a campfire for crafting, several makeshift beds, and storage containers, making it a feasible spot for player housing. Graffiti inside reads, quote-unquote, "like I give a shit," a fitting sentiment for a location that now mostly sees transient prospectors and Viper gunslingers who make this station their temporary turf. Those bold enough to explore may find a valuable Sunset Sarsaparilla Star bottle cap by the old cash register, and just north of the station, by the Sunset Sarsaparilla billboard, the lonesome drifter, clad in a regulator duster and wielding the iconic mysterious Magnum, can be found. The Crimson Caravan Company, established in 2151, quickly rose to become one of New California's most influential merchant houses. Founded by Dimitri Romara and Carrie Lee, the company's early reputation was forged by a policy to accept even the most dangerous jobs. Known for its armored caravans, Crimson Caravan developed a low loss rate and an ever-growing roster of skilled guards. As the NCR grew, so did the company, spreading into every major settlement across the West and serving as a pillar of trade, agriculture, and manufacturing. It became instrumental in stabilizing the Mojave economy after the Brotherhood War by helping reinstate the bottle cap as a currency, a move critical to maintaining trade routes and exchange stability. By 2281, Alice McClafferty, the head of the Mojave branch, engaged in shrewd deals, securing the Van Graffs as partners and employing underhanded tactics to dominate the regional market. Although historically committed to fair wages and contracts, the Crimson Caravan's power allowed McClafferty to enforce strict non-compete clauses, solidifying their hold on New California and the Mojave. Crimson Caravan's wealth came not only from trade, but also through innovations in caravan organization, efficient security, and technology adapted to the wasteland, making it a pivotal force in the NCR's reach and stability. Helios 1, a prized NCR asset in the Mojave, was once a cutting-edge solar power plant built by Poseidon Energy. Tasked with running it is the unreliable Fantastic, who's far more interested in scoring chems than managing energy. The NCR, unaware of his ineptitude, left him to his devices, while Ignacio Rivera's, a genuinely dedicated worker, tried to keep the plant in check. When the courier uses the powerful Archimedes laser to wipe out the NCR soldiers at the very end of the Lucky Sun quest, the fallout is immediate.
Warning. Terminal sequence initiated for Helios 1 reflector banks. The Archimedes laser systems will automatically initiate test fire upon completion.
With the NCR cleared out a few days later, the Legion happens to move in. And Fantastic, ever the opportunist, is quick to don Legion armor, fully embracing his new role. Nearby lies Ignacio, now dead. His efforts to reasonably oversee Helios 1 ended. If asked about Ignacio, Fantastic feigns ignorance, adding yet another layer to his shameless survival instincts. He also famously now says,
"Hey man, when in Rome."
On the way to Nellis Air Force Base, I came across a man eager to bet that I wouldn't survive the trip past the Boomer's artillery.
Whoa there, pal. You better slow down, or you'll get blown up like the rest of the idiots who thought they'd scavenge in Boomer territory. Now that I've got your attention, might you be interested in a little information? It'll cost you, but it's well worth the investment. Whoa, simmer down. I'll tell you, I'm a gambler and a scavenger. I've made some cash from gambling and some cash from reclaiming goods that are no longer being used. Now, do you want my help or not? There is a way, and I'll tell you, for a little wager. Well, I know the secret to get past. If you give me the caps, I'll tell you. If you make it back alive, I'll double your money. All right, I suppose I can cut you a deal, but not a cap lower. I gotta make a living here. Okay, here you go. That page has the details, but it's all in the timing as you move from building to building. I'll be here watching, so I'll know if you've made it to the gate or not. Remember, I'll pay double your wager if you make it back.
Instead of taking the direct, more dangerous path, I found an alternate route that had me skirt the base just close enough to limit their artillery. They only got a few shots off before I was already too close for them to aim at. I made it to the base, and then made my way back to the guy, proving that there's more than one way to handle a Boomer challenge.
Hold it right there. Don't you move. How the hell did you survive that bombardment?
Jumping Jesus on a pogo stick. You're the first one to make it through alive, let alone manage a return trip. Yep, here are your caps. You drive a hard bargain. Here you go. Have a nice day. That was pretty incredible. I've never seen anyone come out of the boomer's reign of death alive before.
According to the Fallout Bible, there's an interesting and rather unorthodox experiment involving a vault intentionally populated with Mormons, where the twist was that the machine designed to produce vault suits would fail shortly after the vault door was sealed. It's bizarre for sure, but Fallout fans know that Vault-Tec social experiments often took strange forms. This particular experiment feels especially quirky. After all, clothing is typically taken for granted in maintaining social order and comfort, yet imagining the outcome is equally fascinating. After the initial shock wore off, it's likely that the residents would adjust to the lack of clothing, redefining modesty and social norms to make the best of their situation. With a community bonded by shared beliefs and values, they'd likely focus on the more meaningful aspects of their social and spiritual lives rather than appearance. Ironically, it might have even ended up as one of Vault-Tec's more successful vaults. Instead of descending into chaos, the inhabitants could have fostered a strong sense of resilience and mutual respect, making this vault a strange but fitting example of how humanity adapts in the face of absurd constraints. In the quiet town of Good Springs, some of the homes are equipped with their own makeshift batteries, providing them with a rare, self-sustained source of electricity in a world where power is a scarce luxury. The image of a few houses with dimly glowing lights, powered by cobbled-together batteries, paints a picture of resilience and innovation among the people of the Mojave. In a setting where most settlements rely on candles or improvised lighting, these small energy sources make Good Springs feel like an oasis of ingenuity in the harsh wasteland. One of the most haunting scenes in the Mojave can be found on the second floor of the Bison Steve Hotel in Prim. Here, in a dingy bathroom, a skeleton sits slumped in a bathtub, surrounded by empty drug containers and a bloodied switchblade. It's a grim, silent story, but one that leaves an impression. This scene of desperation offers a stark glimpse into the kind of hardships that might have led to this individual's last moments, a whoa moment that kind of brings the haunting realities of the wasteland into sharp focus. In Cottonwood Cove, the Legion holds slaves in a pen. There are multiple ways to get these slaves free, but once you get these individuals free, they're sent to the followers of the Apocalypse Fort in Freeside, where they quietly integrate into the fort's mission to provide aid to the needy. Though they only say a single line when you encounter them, the presence in the fort adds a powerful and touching realism to the game world, showing how the smallest actions can ripple out, impacting lives beyond the immediate scope of the courier's journey. In the Fallout universe, the timeline diverges from our own somewhere in the 19th century, and with it comes an intriguing array of technological and historical quirks that defy our established reality. Take Thomas Edison's phonograph, which, in our own world, was invented in 1887. In the Fallout timeline, however, it's suggested that this device might have been crafted much earlier. Eerily, there's even a phonographic recording of Abraham Lincoln's voice, hinting that either Edison's invention predated Lincoln's real-world death in 1865, or Lincoln survived longer. Maybe perhaps some combination of both happened. It's these kind of intriguing discrepancies that set the Fallout series apart, inviting players to ponder the what-ifs of a retro-futuristic world. In Fallout 3 though, you can actually find this eerie piece of history, adding depth to the series' rich alternative past. While our focus here is primarily on Fallout New Vegas, it's hard to resist throwing in a fascinating tidbit like this from the entire whole series here. They weave in an intricate tapestry of lore that enriches the Fallout experience, blending nostalgia, dark humor, and a uniquely warped vision of American history across the centuries. The Pint-Sized Slasher is one of Fallout's most eerie legends, lurking in the shadows of Fallout 3's world and evoking the darker corners of pre-war America. According to the myth, the Pint-Sized Slasher was a child-sized menace in a clown mask, dressed in a simple striped shirt, jeans, and wielding a disturbingly large chef's knife. This figure reportedly haunted the suburbs, turning innocent cul-de-sacs into his personal hunting grounds. Despite being a child, he was infamous for his viciousness, a trait that made him a frightening figure in pre-war urban legends. Parents even used the legend to keep children in line.
A funny guy, huh? Well, fine, you may as well come on in. Don't think you're any safer in here, though. Super mutants won't leave us alone, carried off some of our friends during the last attack. Just don't cause any trouble, okay?
Warning that the tiny terror would emerge at dusk, sometimes creeping from a dog kennel with his oversized knife to chase after children who misbehave. In Fallout 3, players encounter the Pint-Sized Slasher in the form of a simulated experience within the Tranquility Lane quest, activated by entering Vault 112 on the way to find your father. Here, the player can take on the identity of the Pint-Sized Slasher, assuming the legend themselves and wielding that iconic knife. This twist encounter takes place within a simulated 1950s cul-de-sac, an unsettlingly perfect suburban world that hides the reality of a virtual prison. As the Pint-Sized Slasher, the player gains the ability to go on a rampage with this perfect setting, which forces them to confront the grim nature of this infamous figure. The experience in Tranquility Lane brings the myth to life in a way that only Fallout could, balancing eerie lore with player involvement. Adding to the unnerving legacy, the Fallout world suggests the slasher may not just be a myth. The Capital Post newspaper, found in Fallout 3, contains an article implying the slasher might have been real, citing reports from Germantown police and details from forensic studies that describe knife wounds seemingly inflicted by a much smaller attacker. One survivor even described seeing the clown after his brother was murdered, calling the killer a little clown and a miniature maniac. This evidence implies that the Pint-Sized Slasher could have been more than just a legend, suggesting he actually haunted pre-war DC suburbs, making him a true source of terror. The possibility that such a killer existed adds a shiver to the already ominous figure and leaves players wondering if the legend of the Pint-Sized Slasher was more real than anyone would have wanted to actually believe. For those who want to experience the legend beyond Fallout 3, a reference to the slasher can be found in Fallout 4 as well. Fans even have the option to track down the slasher's mask in Point Lookout, Fallout 3's swampy DLC setting. Here, in the eerie Homestead Motel, you can discover the Pint-Sized Slasher's mask in Room 1K, allowing players to connect with the myth once more. This iconic mask serves as a chilling reminder of one of Fallout's creepiest stories, leaving players with a glimpse into the darker undercurrents of the Fallout universe that hint at a world forever haunted by its myths, legends, and its unsettling truths. Since the release of Fallout New Vegas, players have speculated about the existence of a hidden military base resembling the infamous Area 51. Given that the game world is based on the Mojave Desert, where Area 51 is located only a short distance from Las Vegas, it seems plausible that this legendary base could have made its way into the Fallout universe. Within the game, The New California Republic is known for occupying old military facilities and establishing outposts, fueling theories that perhaps they'd set up shop in a version of Area 51. These rumors have only grown as players report searching for traces of the secret base, eager for any hint of alien technology, government secrets, or eerie encounters tucked away in a corner of the map. Modders have even created fan-made expansions, imagining what an Area 51 location might contain, from alien weaponry to dark government experiments. Yet, despite extensive player exploration and unofficial add-ons, the actual game does not include any trace of Area 51, leaving its presence purely in the realm of fan theories and wishful thinking. As one of the most enduring myths in Fallout New Vegas, the elusive Area 51 remains a mystery, a tantalizing reminder of the game's rich lore and the vast potential of its world. The myth of the Camp Forlorn Hope ghost taps into the desolation and grief that pervades the camp's atmosphere in Fallout New Vegas. Aptly named Forlorn Hope, this NCR base is a bleak sight of continual losses, surrounded by hostile Legion forces and plagued by perpetual lack of supplies and support. Even if the player completes quests to help the camp, much of the damage is irreversible, leaving behind a sense of defeat and unfulfilled hope. The player may also engage in a side quest to assist in the hospital, but without the proper skills, failure results in the grim deaths of the patients, further layering the camp in tragedy. The combination of constant skirmishes, a grimly desolate environment, and the occasional body left among the tents heightens the feeling that Camp Forlorn Hope is a place where rest is a rarity and peace is even scarcer. In the graveyard on site, some players report eerie whispering sounds and even the occasional bottle or item seemingly moving on its own, intensifying rumors of a ghost or poltergeist haunting the camp. While tales circulate about similar whispers echoing within the hospital tent if the player fails their medical duties, it remains an unlikely detail, with most experiences confined to the graveyard itself. Sightings of the ghosts are exceedingly rare, and most who claim to have seen an apparition find it was likely an NCR soldier or another figure wandering the camp. Although the legend of Forlorn Hope ghosts persists, further investigations have yielded few concrete answers, leaving it a chilling yet doubtful myth that still clings to the somber ambience of the camp. Despite the mystery surrounding it, the legend of the ghostly presence at Camp Forlorn Hope adds yet another layer to the Fallout world's nuanced narrative of lingering souls, haunting not out of malice, but out of an unfulfilled duty in the wasteland's unforgiving terrain. In Fallout 4's Nuka-World DLC, there's a ghoul magician whose tricks seem a little too convincing. According to some fans, this character isn't just a regular stage performer. He's actually using real magic. The idea is that he hides his true abilities under the guise of sleight of hand and illusions, but his powers can't be explained away by ordinary tricks. Being a magician is simply a cover for his ghoul magic. This theory adds a mysterious edge to his character, making you wonder if some ghouls have unlocked supernatural abilities beyond radiation immunity. It's one of those Fallout mysteries that blurs the line between science and the supernatural, leaving players to decide if this ghoul is really enchanted or if he's just a very talented illusionist. A common misconception among Fallout players is that every monstrosity in the wasteland is simply the result of radiation-induced mutation after the bombs fell. But in reality, many of the horrors roaming the wasteland are actually man-made. Take for instance the Deathclaws. They were genetically engineered as a bioweapon before the Great War. Then, There are the cazadors, those really oversized, deadly, annoying wasps. And they were released into the wild after scientists experimented on them. Night Stalkers, another hybrid monstrosity created in a lab. Even fire ants have a twisted backstory, engineered in a scientist's basement. The truth is, humans created plenty of the terrors intentionally, long before radiation ever got to them. So, while some creatures like rad roaches and Brahmin are simply mutations, much of the wasteland's wildlife stems from humanity's own reckless experiments. As a haunting reminder that sometimes humanity's worst enemy is itself. I just want to say thank you guys though for sticking around to the very end. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into Fallout's myths and mysteries, be sure to check out the other 2 videos I've made just like this one, and don't forget to hit the like button. And also, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel to see more of this. But with the like button, you help this Fallout channel reach more of the Fallout community, and it helps support the channel. So please hit the like button, and also please drop a comment. I would seriously really love to hear you guys' thoughts on this, or if you got anything else you want me to cover, or anything that you think is not really that known. Please let me know. Please, please, please. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next one. Corn out.